Have the emergency preparedness plan, Chief Capaldi and Ms. Smith. Okay.
Yes, the work on updating the emergency preparedness plan continues. Myself and Shalita and the city manager have been all reviewing the information from the consultant. Actually, next week we have workshops scheduled on the 17th where we're going to take increments with the different department heads, and we're almost toward the end of the process here where they're going to start actually writing the plan, putting a new document together. So next week, that'll be a big step in that. So after next week, we'll probably be at the 60% mark. So we may be a few weeks behind where I plan to be at this time, but it's moving along. So that's basically what I can report right now.
Thank you.
Good?
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. All right, item number three. Item number three. Citywide crime statistics and downtown traffic enforcement. Captain Walker, how are you tonight?
Good, so,
Nice to see you. Thank you, I'm fine.
you look at all the statistics, we're only up in a few areas. One is calls for service, the other one is thefts and assaults, and we're also up in arrests. And the statistics, downtown parking enforcement, and since the last safety meeting, parking enforcement, a woman has issued 96 parking tickets in the downtown area. Our K-9 unit has assisted on 51 calls, resulting in 6 arrests and 8 charges. And they've got some drugs off the street and 1 firearm. The police department as a whole in the last month has arrested 5 juveniles, 9 adults, all related in one form or another into types of weapons charges, and got 11 firearms off the streets.
5 juveniles.
5 juveniles.
Wow.
2 of them from Harding Middle School, 2 other ones from the street, and 1 from within one of our parks. Pretty much it. Yes.
Chief, how, the call for services is way up and all the time is down. This is minor calls, we're getting service calls,
This is, we're getting more calls for service, but we're doing a better job. There's less crime. Yeah, less crime. We're arresting more people, getting them off the street quicker.
Is there room in jail? Is there room in jail?
A little while.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's not your problem. Thank you.
Good.
Captain, shots fired, they're actually up to it.
Compared to last year, shots fired are actually down. The reports of shots fired, but actual shots fired are up, which it's like, I mean, it's a little weird, but yeah. But with the actual shots fired, like I said, we've actually gotten more people off the streets after the fact with the investigations and everything else. That's what the 9 adults and the 4 of the 5 juveniles were arrested in regards to that.
And what was this, I just want to ask you again on the stats on Bono, the K-9 patrol. What was that? I want to...
He assisted on 51 calls,
51 calls.
and they made 6 arrests, and out of those 6 arrests, 8 charges, and they've got drugs off the streets and also 1 firearm.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Captain,
Villamanga?
on, I don't know if you know this or not, but why do we pay the overtime parking tickets at the chief's office or the clerk's office?
Chief's office.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Okay.
It wasn't on you.
Why do we do that?
It's started that way back when they first started doing it, because it was the parking lots in downtown, and it's been that way ever since. The chief secretary collects the money and then deposits the money, keeps track of it in the Stillman system.
Does the money go to like the same way as the tickets go to, like
I think it goes straight over into the general fund with Not exactly sure, I just know we make the deposit, and that's where we end our part.
Because here's the problem that I got, and I don't know if you're aware, because I know you're the acting chief right now, but I got 2 calls over the week when that email went out about the selective parking thing downtown, which has been going on for a while. The city manager said he didn't know nothing about it, and I know you didn't, but I did speak to the chief and I did speak to the city manager about it. And then it came out, so when that was actually going on, that nobody was writing these 2 individuals tickets. So then that started a flood of calls. People called me and said they know so-and-so got a ticket taken care of. And I said, well, I have no way of knowing that. I don't know, I don't follow whatever ticket was. And I said, who were they? So they gave me the 2 names, and I contacted these 2 people, and they were like dismayed that I called them. But anyway, I don't know if this is, well, you can't change it, but maybe, I think that the city, I think all the tickets should be paid at the court, like all the other tickets are paid. That way this eliminates this whole thing. If they pay them the way all the other tickets and fines are paid, that eliminates the innuendos.
But that would have to go through an ordinance or a resolution, or would we just pay
Start paying them.
consider judge or?
Administrative decision. Administrative.
I mean, do you see, Brett, do you think that's a good idea too, that all the tickets be paid in one spot like that? That way it eliminates it all. That's all.
We'll see if we can get that done.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Davis?
On that same subject, because I was going to address it as well, could we make sure that stops? I guess more important than what's gone on in the past. We got to stop that. If we're going to enforce a parking thing downtown, we have to do it for everybody. So I don't know if you can look into that, if we're going to wait till the chief gets back, but nobody should get preferential treatment at all, no matter who they are. And then with that, we have the person, Bob, I hope you were talking about the same thing, that was working for the United Way that did move the car, but went back around the corner, came back and got another ticket. I don't know that we can say, ticket the fella that owns the business who's being let go right now, but then let her, not, if she's downtown for 2 hours on that type of business, that would be something that I don't know how we would handle. Is there a parking pass? We all have a parking pass, okay? I should have probably said that because now we'll get chastised for that. But anyway, we have, so we can park out front from council meetings. But is there something for somebody in the clergy or in the United Way that is doing that type of work? Is there something that we can do to help them? I guess is my question.
Okay, glad you did something, because I talked to her, but I don't really understand what happened. I think she got the ticket because it appeared that she was moving.
Right.
From one spot to another.
Right.
When in reality, she
Yeah.
wasn't. And there's going to be something broken and everything, but we do got to come up with some kind of medium, because I surely don't want somebody that is doing that. I don't think anybody wants anybody to do that.
If you got a business owner, they should find another spot. I mean, they're keeping business from their own institution. If they're parking in front of there, that's a no-brainer. That one has to be taken.
And I'll never understand.
But I really need to understand why we can't help the clergy or somebody doing charitable work or something like that, even if they come to the station that morning or the day before, say, hey, I have to be downtown for 5 hours tomorrow, I'm going to these 4 places, and I need a certain, parking pass or something like that. There's something, just something to think about.
There's a solution right there.
As long as we know they're there.
Yeah, you say I'm going to be doing business, and you check in and get a pass.
Yeah, just a temporary, not everyday thing, just a temporary thing where we can help that, because that type of work should be encouraged, not discouraged, and not charge her for something like that.
Right.
I do know that the parking enforcement officer was talked to, and the enforcement is fair and should be administered to everyone equally. And I believe that has been addressed and corrected. The legislation that was passed by City Council set the parameters on that. And they were afraid of downtown, if you can recall in our discussions, of downtown employees parking because they're first ones downtown, and they wanted the strict enforcement of 2 hours. It doesn't prevent a employee then going out and moving the car. That's why this individual was ticketed, not knowing who the vehicle belonged to, but she was issued a ticket. If City Council would want to consider in issuing special permits to whatever selective group that you want to include, if it's the clergy or business people or nonprofit agencies or whatever, they would have to adopt the policy and ordinance authorizing that, and then the enforcement officer will be instructed when that permit shows in the window or on the visor or rear view mirror that they are authorized to park longer than the 2 hours issued.
Mayor, if I could, one more thing, on the same subject. If we, and this is addressed to all council, if we do decide to come up with a pass of some sort like that, remember, this whole parking enforcement thing started because of out-of-towners going to the courthouse and spending X amount of hours down there and, you know, on our dime and taking parking away from. So it's got to be select, and it's got to be a viable reason, clergy, charity, things of that. It can't be, you know, a guy, you got to do a title search or things like that. Can't be an attorney that's going to be in court all day just because he's out of town. He got to park somewhere else as well. But it's just, we got to figure out how we would do that without disrupting the whole thing that we started in the beginning.
It could be counterproductive.
Correct.
Mike, did you have something?
I don't have nothing on parking. I got an unrelated question for either Captain Walker or
Just
Terry.
tack on to the mayor and county, be very restricted. You know, when we had the ball pickups, we get people all out, all places out of our city to dump on the street, and friends and relatives' places, so we need to be very restrictive with that.
My question is this all the time, or is this just a one-time incident? That's the first time I've had
First time I've ever heard of it.
this email come to me, and I was out of town, I saw this email, and then it kept growing. I mean, does this happen all the time? Or is this the first time? I saw your email saying this first I heard.
First I heard of it,
Right, so, I mean, are we going to make an ordinance that, or not an ordinance, but procedure that just because of a one-time incident, we're going to,
That's a good point.
that's where I'm going, this, I mean,
Or maybe we should see if it was just a one-time incident or the last time the person just said, heck with it. Maybe it was one time for her.
Maybe if it happens again,
then maybe we'll go forward with it. I mean, do you have many complaints about this, or?
no, not really. I mean, that's the
Okay.
first one, and I actually spoke to Ms. Rupert when she came in and explained to her why she got the ticket and explained to her about the misunderstanding, because like she said, she was at the meetings, but the way the ordinance reads is we have one person walking the streets checking, and she saw the car for so long, then it moved, and she saw it for so long again, so it totaled over the 2 hours. And that's the way the ordinance reads, so you have people.
She's doing her job, yes.
Right, she received one ticket, she come in, we even offered to void the ticket because of the misunderstanding, and she said no, she would pay the ticket, and she paid it. So, I mean, that's the only one we've had like that. And if somebody does come in and has a valid excuse or something like that, we talk to them and we write void on the ticket and we put it in the stack with the rest of them.
Okay, well,
Because she wasn't upset either. She was.
No, she was, I mean, we explained to her and she said she understood, but like, she was confused because she thought she had left and then come back down and started another 2 hours, but the way the ordinance reads, it's 2 hours altogether in that time frame.
So we need to look at
Within the
that.
same block on the same side.
Right.
One-time deal.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes up again, then we'll address it. Okay.
That's good.
I don't
Because we don't want to get in
know.
a situation where,
Knee-jerk
I
reaction.
don't want to start avoiding tickets all the time.
Right, right.
And we're going to avoid it because you like somebody, then because I like somebody, and then because.
Right, I don't want to get into that, because it's kind of like, never mind, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, I had a question on the criminal nuisance ordinance we passed last year. Have we used that at all? The reason I ask, I mean, it sets up, if you do certain illegal activities within 1,000 feet of a location, they're supposed to start the process of getting letters and fines. And there's one location in the downtown area, has hit the paper quite often, and that should at least trigger the criminal nuisance ordinance. And have we issued any letters to anybody?
I think I talked to Joel about that. We'll have to wait till the chief gets back, because the chief is the one that administers that, because it comes out of his office. I don't think we have, either. But then again, I don't know what if the chief has sent any out.
But in that one instance, the one that hits the paper all the time, what do you think they qualify that, according to the ordinance?
I'd have to take a look at it. And, I'll look.
I brought that up 3 weeks ago to the city manager. He was supposed to look into it. Probably still looking.
I actually called the state, nothing against anybody here in this town, but I actually called the state and I kind of got to run around there. I'm serious.
I know, some of them get killed.
I'm telling you, that's what scares me about that whole situation. And I don't want to see one of our officers get, that's my concern. I don't want to see one of our officers go down there and something happen to them.
And I don't want to say anything more about this
Right,
place,
right.
but I have talked to the liquor control agent in charge of this area on 2 different occasions within the last week and a half. So, and I don't want to talk about our
Okay.
discussions, but they are aware.
Well, I know they're aware.
Right.
We'll fix that.
Maybe after the meeting, I'll share personally with some of you the discussion I had.
Okay. Anything else from Mr. Captain Walker?
Good job.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. Mr. Petrozzi, you're up next. Hilltop Neighborhood Strategic Safety Plan, and Hilltop Neighborhood Community Task Force. Yes, Chris. Are you good? Fine, thank you.
Just one update, it's on the second page. I wanted to update you regarding the demolitions that were recently let out for bid. We have signed contracts with demolition contractors for 509, 511, 515, 605 Railroad Avenue, 603 Garrett, 622 Pine, 1247 Lincoln, and those are all fire damage property, as well as the 3 you see listed there on Center Avenue, 511, 513, and 513 rear, 606 Brady, 831 and 833 Sherman, and 242 South 8, as well as the building right down the street at 220, 230 Adams Street. One leftover from last year, 700 Pine, has been completed. Completed a couple of weeks ago. We also will be contracting for new asbestos assessment services. A consultant has been selected. We expect to have the contracts finalized soon. And then we will begin doing the asbestos assessments on the next batch of properties. That leads me to the next list. And that is the list you have before you, so properties unfit for human habitation or planned for demolition. These are all the properties that we have in our inventory of properties that are planned for demolition. The properties that you see there, I believe it's 5 through 10, are just designated as unfit, and that's because of lead-based paint issues. They're not necessarily demolitions.
Well, that's why you have the demo there.
Yes.
Okay.
I added that because I want to make it clear that those are not necessarily on the list because of the demolition. Those are there because they cannot be occupied.
And that's lead-based?
That's lead-based.
Okay, all right.
Chris, before we get too far down that list, I didn't really, I wasn't clear what you said with Glen Street. You said there wasn't enough money in this round to bid.
Yes,
Okay, so it's going to be in the next round?
yes,
And it's going to be, it's for this year?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, the asbestos assessment has already been completed on that one because we thought we would be able to do that one. And And so that would allow the next round of demolitions.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I just want to explain how we add properties to the list and how we demolish them. The properties are added to the list in the order that we find out about them. When our inspectors go out, they inspect 12 properties in a day. They come back at the end of the day and say, 126 Wilden and 1304 Wellesley are candidates for demolition. At that point, they're added to the list. So they're added in the order that we find them. They're also generally, I'll say generally, bid out that way. Now, there can be exceptions because if there are properties very close together, for example, let's say on one street we have 2 houses next to one another, or 2 or 3 houses that are very close to one another, but they're not together on the list. It makes sense that we bid those out together because we'll get a better price when we just have one contractor and get one price on all 3 properties. So we'll combine properties in an effort to save money if they're very close to one another.
Like 26, 27, 28. Right here.
Yes.
511, 513, and 513 rear center avenue. Okay.
Also, fire damage properties, when we become aware of fire damage properties, we'll move those to the top of the list because they're such an immediate hazard to the passers-by, the kids, the neighboring homes. So fire damage properties.
So if it's a safety issue, it ought to be
If
the top of the
yes,
list.
if it's an issue where it's imminent collapse or fire damage, something serious like that goes to the top of the list. Generally, we limit those, try to limit those to fire damage properties. The building, I believe there was a question on 620 Webster Alley, and that's number 122 on the list. But that is on the list. The property where you see that something listed in blue on your list, those are properties that have been or are being considered by the Jefferson County Land Bank for demolition. So the Land Bank acquires and demolishes those properties. That'll permit us to use those funds on additional properties.
Okay.
And if
So we
I-
get help on that.
If I could mention the ones in blue with the Jefferson County Land Bank through the Regional Planning Office, we administer that on behalf of the county. And our criteria is using the grant opportunity of $715,000 that we receive is a little different than the criteria that Chris uses. We have to also take in consideration foreclosures on the property. So the ones you see in blue, if they haven't already been accepted into the county land bank, they will be shortly, and we're hoping to complete the demolitions no later than June of 2016. On June 22nd, we have a bid opening for 5. All of those, in fact, are out in the county. But we're working through our list, and we will be addressing at least these 8 or 10 on this list in blue, and probably more in the future. But one of the criteria that we have to consider is the foreclosures on the property. Mr. Diaretta?
Yeah, Chris, I want to thank you because you're working in conjunction with the, We're working in conjunction with the Jefferson Metropolitan Housing Authority. We have 56 houses this summer that we're going to inspect with your corporation. They're either going to come down or remodel or be sold. And that is no cost to the city. That's how the housing project's broken fund. Thank you. I'll keep you busy, Chris, this summer.
Anything else?
Just want to point one thing out. There's 5 names on there that look like mine. It's not me.
I was gonna wait till after.
I wanted to ask you, Dave.
It's all spelled the same, that's not me.
I wanted to ask you.
Wait a minute, how can you spell Kevin wrong?
They've been wrong with David.
You sure?
Guaranteed.
I'm kidding.
That's the guy that was in the boat in the river.
Oh, okay, that guy. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on. Appreciate that. Number 5, proactive neighborhood cleanup program. Should I break this down? Is that, Chris, would that be you, or is this all a collaborative group?
We did the demolition program already, maybe
Yeah,
Officer
I
Scott
tried
can talk about.
Alley cleanup?
I can try to address as much of that, and when I can't, I'll let Chris kind of fill in, but I wondered about that too, and I saw when he came by and said, when did Mr. Davis, I think it was time to be entrepreneur too, so I was glad he's thankful it wasn't you that I had to say. We're progressing through, continue, I just want to show you a map. It's a bigger map. Working on trying to get some better, Chris and I are trying to work together to get some kind of programs that we can use on a more up-to-date basis. We're trying to work on some of that. Right now they're doing some GPS stuff through the engineering involved. And so hopefully down the road we can actually kind of, instead of trying to give you one of these, magic marker kind of maps, that I do the best I can. But basically show you a general idea of what we've been doing, progressing since we started a year ago. Covering a ton of areas here in Pleasant Heights. This is the Pleasant Heights area here. And then LaBelle, just progression as well. Obviously, with the way things are in human nature, we're going back to a lot of places that we've been before. So when we get the complaints, we set back, keep trying to plug away at these properties. It's working well, trying to get some of these houses demolished. So the program, I think, is being effective. Not as quick as I would like, obviously. Not as quick as I'm sure the city would like, but we're working as hard as we can to do it. The pink area here is basically the downtown business district. We're also trying to do zoning plan has been able to identify quite a few different houses and areas that need to come down or at least be addressed. So we're trying to address those different businesses as we get. Oh, thanks. So basically, we just keep progressing around. Currently, we've done 66 weed violations, 86 litter violations, and 154 building-related codes, and that could be anything from a dilapidated gutter or a house needs paint, all those kind of issues in the area. That's just in Pleasant Heights and LaBelle areas. Chris and his folks are dealing also in the areas we call the major gateways and corridors. Thanks, sir. We didn't even practice that. It's kind of natural to work with Yonk long enough that he knows exactly where I'm at.
We're good.
But basically, continue to progress in the major corridors. They deal with those on a weekly basis. There were some issues, I think, on the North 7 area. That's where the old recycling center, old gas station stuff was there. There's some litter there. It's going to be addressed by ODOT, I think our city, as well as we can. Obviously, they're progressing in that area to change that away. I hope this will be very nice when they're done. I just want to address very quickly, our community service crews under Mr. Littlejohn and the community service and the court are doing an absolutely outstanding job. We started giving them grass cutting lists every Friday like we did last year. I give them a list of about 20 to 30 things on a regular basis. They get to it as soon as they possibly can, usually within a week. Sometimes they have to carry that out depending on, really depending on the manpower that comes in. I want to give a lot of kudos and credit to them because they go well above and beyond with their capabilities and their abilities, the personnel. Basically, one of the issues that we're struggling with right now is that we just don't have a lot of people coming to community service. We have 5 supervisors, a couple, the 2 ladies that work generally try to take care of the building, and they're going around and pick people on litter when they can. The gentlemen, 3 gentlemen are taking on crews to go out and actually do the grass cutting in the different areas that we try to address. And that's just, again, depending on who is assigned to community service, who shows up that day. It could be one person, it could be no persons. You might get 5 or 6 people, and it might just depend on who they are and what capabilities they have. Mr. Littleton's trying to address some of that court. Hopefully, some of that will get a little bit better once we have a permanent judge in place, because then there could be more of a concentration on make sure we're sanctioning people that need to be sanctioned. There's a regular thing. When Judge Spahn was in the office, there seemed to be a lot more where there were a lot more sanctions involved, so that, for instance, if I assigned you to community service, it was a sanction first. You got 20 hours because that was your punishment, but then I might let you pay off your fine. But you had to do the 20 hours. If you did do the 20 hours, then the sanction was you go to jail for a couple of days, then you start all over with the 20 hours. You didn't get credit for what you didn't do. But what you did do, you didn't get credit for, you start all over again. So there's some of that, we're trying to work on that, and obviously to challenge with the interposition at the moment. But to their credit, if they have nobody to work with, these three guys go out and they cut everything I'm telling you about. There's over 200 or 300 lists, 200, 250 problems they've addressed. I'll give them a list of 20, 30 things, and then above that, we have every area of the city, basically Bell and Pleasant Heights, the downtown area, broken down into 10 different districts, including the central business district. When they don't have something to do, they just concentrate on an area. And then if there's something on the west end or further out on the hilltop areas, we deal with that on the list. So if something's come in, we assign that. What else on that? Again, the primary thing they're doing this week, and they'll be doing again next week, will be to address the downtown areas, especially where the festivals will be congregating and stuff. So you'll see them out there going to be hitting the sidewalks, they're going to be hitting around the posts, anything that we can do to try to beautify the general area for the folks that are coming to visit our city, give it the best look we can possibly give them. And they're just doing a great job with this, so I can't say enough about that. We are getting your requests coming in through the Q&A programs, or through the city manager, through the mayor's office. I'm getting all that. When I can, whatever needs to go on the list goes on the list. Where we can address ourselves through citations or through warning letters, we're doing that. My office is well staffed with one person, so we're getting to you as soon as we can.
That's why I don't bother you.
Some of my job, and I don't mind being bothered.
You're getting cut back to it. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, it's fair. It's supposed to cut my staff in half, so which would be good for me, because I'm trying to do some work. But what we're basically, my other duties also, in addition to what I'm doing, if the turn is short for a day or something, I do have to assist in other police duties. So sometimes they take a little bit longer to get to you, but please send your people, we'll get the call and get the ASAP. Just to address something Chris brought up, was in the paper last week. Ms. Stubbs did come down. I know talked about the area around her place, 620 North Webster, and what's called a wilderness area around her. It's basically an area, an old lot that's been allowed to grow up over the years. I have addressed that with her. I went down and saw her the next day. First of all, thank her for the very nice kind words she was saying about us. So that was very nice to see, but I explained to her that we'll get to that. I have a crew that's set up to cut next week, hopefully. The area where the house is going to be demoed, we'll get that out of there, at least clean up until the house is demoed, so we can try to get some of that regular population collected. And then the wilderness area, we're going to be addressing that too, get some of that cut down so we can do it on a regular basis. Just want to remind people in our city to please cut your own grass. If you own your property, cut your own grass. I don't think it's too hard to do. It's your property.
They don't do it.
They don't do it, and so if you don't do it, we'll be more than happy to give you a citation to help you out with that problem. But if you own it, cut it. If you rent it, cut it. And cut your sidewalks and cut your alleys. Those both belong to your property, and that makes it a lot easier and a lot nicer to live with that. Mr. Johnson broke the windows, and that's part of it. If you want to get your car down in your neighborhood, take your city look nice, take some responsibility, and cut your own lot. Get off your butt and do what you're supposed to do. Is that pretty strong?
I loved it.
Okay, good.
I loved it.
Mr. Bell. Are you going to spray this year? We did look at the possibility of spraying. Our team, myself, Bob Baird, Mary Beth Sills, we tried to contract with a couple different areas. One of the issues that we ran into, and Bob might be able to address it better than I, was concerns about EPA regulations and poisons and stuff like that. So at this point, our desire to do that program is kind of stifled. We're looking at some other options to do that. But ultimately, that would be one of the great things that would be if we could do that, especially around sidewalks, curbs, that thing. You come to Lincoln, and you see where the Lincoln and Sinclair come together. We have those kind of islands in the middle. We address them the best we can. Some kind of poison would be absolutely wonderful, so we're looking at some alternatives. We'll continue to work on that progress and see what we can do. So the long short answer is, yeah, we want to do that, but right now we've got the stifling in that area. And one of the things we had looked at was to try to go outside the city because it would be cost prohibitive to do it ourselves at this point because we need equipment and things. We felt if we went out, they would take the liability issues and things. Shouldn't be a problem. They know what they're doing. They're spraying. Of course, they don't want so many people don't want to get involved in it. So our committee's still trying to figure out some alternatives. Anything else? Thank you all for your support.
Thank you all for your good work.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barrett, do you want to talk on this, or you want to wait till I get to this? Number six. Number six is you, brother. Chris, are you good? I just want to say one thing, and Sean hit on a little bit. And I don't want to draw attention to any certain department or anything, but I was out of town. I was on vacation last week. And in fact, I was out of the country. When I come home, I left my phone at home. I didn't want to get a big charge on my phone bill. And when I came home, my phone had many emails, many voicemails about certain things that went on the city this weekend. I know Mr. DiLoretto constantly asks for help cutting certain areas of this town. He asked for help down in Beatty Park, beautiful park. We need to come up with some kind of solution that when we have something with our city parks. I'm going to tell you what happened this weekend. A good friend of mine, he's the principal of Steubenville Public School, Big Red, Teddy Gorman. I'm not going to hold back his name. He texted me on my phone, asked me to come over and help him cut the grass at Pico Park. Mr. DiLoretto's always asked me to go over there and do something with this park. I've since found out that the county owns that park, and we were going to do something with the guardrail. In the meantime, I guess something come up while I was away. Anyhow, Ted went over, someone had cut the grass, but it wasn't enough to please Ted. That's how Ted is. He went over with his weed eater and he cut all the weeds around, trimmed it, and it looks beautiful now. Now this is the guy's the head of the Steubenville Public School System. He's the principal, I'm sorry. He's not that's Mrs. Young. But he went over and he cut this lawn, and he says, the only reason why I did it, my kids don't go down there. He said, I pass it every day. We need more people like that in this town. We need to get help with our parks. I know Sean just brought up some things about you get some people come out. Is there any other way we can get some help working on our parks? My wife and I were walking before I went away through Jim Woods Park, which is in my ward. Pico Park is in my ward. You have the grass is cut, but it needs weed. It needs like weed eater. I mean, I'll go do it if I have to. I don't care. I'll take a team and do that. Is there any way we can get someone or get a group going? And I know Ms. Kirkdahl is always trying with her beautification program. We need to do something. I've had so many complaints the past 3 days, 2 days, from very influential people who have a business and said, it looks bad on our city. And I don't want to be negative. I hate when we're negative. I hate when I hear, you come into town, you got a dumpster here. I don't want to hear that crap. I just think we need to start cleaning the place up. We need to make this city, it's a beautiful city, let's make it more beautiful. Is there a way we can come out, and is there a way we can get something together and do this? Do we want to do it through your beautification committee? I'm more than glad to help you. I know I'm on it with you. I don't help you enough. I will start helping you. We need help. We need volunteers.
Mr. Paul, I believe tomorrow night at the Recreation Committee meeting.
I can't make it.
Well,
I'm busier than hell. How about that? I can't make it. So I can't be here to say I'm saying it tonight.
Okay,
Okay.
Mary Beth Stills is going to announce about a Adopt a Park program that she's.
I think it's too late.
Working on.
I think it's too late. I think it should have been talked about in March. Okay? It should have been talked about in March.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Okay.
She's got it on the agenda.
So we're past what we need to be. Now we got the weeds, we got all the crap growing. So, I mean, I don't want to cut you short, but you do that to me sometimes, I'm giving it back. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Willie, if I could add,
Also, if I could just follow up, also, I believe June 15th, summer youth employees will start working for the city of Steubenville.
Okay.
And I do know that the recreation department requested, and I'm not sure how many, we could check with Mary Beth.
And what we're going to do is put them on that hill over at Bellevue Park, which has been sitting there, which could have...
I don't know what Mary Beth has.
Yeah, well, never mind. This is something we don't need to bring
But I want to
very long ago.
I want to add something to what Willie's saying, because I also I got bombarded this weekend with these phone calls about everything, and I don't know, 'cause I'm not down there. So I got in the car, and me and Mr. Diloretto got in the car, and we drove down there, and he's right, he just mentioned that hillside at Bellevue Park. There were 36 teams down there that were playing for this, called it the Franciscan Friendly or something like that. It was 36 teams. But we waited until the last minute to talk about this, and we should address that hillside, what he's talking about, was horrible. All around the playground, there's leaves coming out. And I went up and talked to Larry, and Larry and Daryl, they're good friends of mine. They're two guys. They can't. And we should have had some plan, and we got to do something, because if we're going to rent these places out, they look bad. And we all know that. It's done something that we're shocked about. I like that adopt a park program, but I think we should have started to, because I see all over the country when you go places, some union adopted this part of the road, another Kiwanis Club adopted another part, but we got to come up with some kind of solution. I agree. That's one of the things I was going to talk about tonight.
How about more people do what Mr. Gorman did, and what I personally did last weekend for 2.5 hours at Linda Park? You just do it. I mean, when you live there, you live across the street, and you want to cry about the weeds, and you live across the street, and you call because we can't mow it because it rained for 3 days, and we have to have the ball fields ready. How about if the citizens, and I could be cutting my own throat here, but how about if the citizens, what Yonk has asked, as long as I've been coming to these council meetings, get involved. And when you see it, act.
Just do it.
Nobody's ever called us and said, hey, do I have your permission to go cut that field? But yet I did it last week. Not that I'm sitting up here, I drive past Linda. My grandkids don't go there. But other kids were playing down there. So I took my tractor down and took 2.5 hours and I cut the grass. But no, I did not weed whack. But that's what we need more of. Miss Kurtdahl has a group from the Urban Mission for the last 2 weekends, working down North End to try to help that. And we talked about 2 guys in the rec department with just Mary Beth on the weekends doing what she can do. But we also only have 9 guys in the street department, and one of them's in the hospital.
And when we do snow removal, we got to take the street department, recreation department, and the wastewater department. Anybody got a CDL?
This is a community. My point is, and I'm not being negative. I think I'm being very positive. I think it's proactive to get involved. And I think that is what we need more of. The city streets have not shrunk in size or mileage or anything, but the workforce has. You know, we still have the same square mileage that we had when we had 30,000 people here, when 25,000 of them were working. But our budget is gone, and our people are gone as far as the workers. So I think it's time that the citizens of the city of Steubenville step up and start when they see something that they can give a half hour of their time for their neighborhood.
Sorry I got off on that.
That's okay. It's a good thing to get off.
It's true, and I agree with that. Listen, I believe that, and I get mad when I hear this all the time too with people, but they're not gonna do it, that we gotta come up with something.
You're right.
We need to be positive, though. I mean, it frustrates me, is my problem. It frustrates the heck out of me, okay? But we need to stay positive. We don't want to send the bad message out to the public saying, well, these guys, I'm sorry, yes. Go ahead.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Willie, and the problem is, to me, it's not so much as us not being able to maintain our own things. It goes back to what Officer Scott said, which I hope is like the main headline tomorrow: cut your own grass. If we're already using all the resources, our extra community service resources to cut other people's grass, we don't even have the manpower to cut our own grass.
Right.
So I'm saying what we could take care of possibly, what if we were using those community services to cut our parks? Well, we can't do that because we got too many personal properties that we gotta go cut at the same time. So absolutely, everybody cut their own grass. We could cut our own and they wouldn't be upset with us. We wouldn't have to rely on volunteers. We could cut our own if we weren't cutting someone else's.
But my biggest concern is when we have out-of-towners come in, and we just, I don't know, we gotta come up with something better.
Because we say we don't want to be negative, but it is negative.
Right,
You know what I'm
right, and that's what I'm getting with my phone, with the phone calls I'm receiving. It's all negative, and I'm thinking, I'm trying to be positive, but anything else?
No.
Everything good? Yes, sir, Mr.
I'm
Peter.
glad somebody else is on the same boat as I am. And I think what we gotta do is hire some summer help, $10 an hour, that guy's got to cut grass, and then go out and put the asphalt down. I've been getting volunteers for the last 10 years on Lincoln Heights, Baby Park, and every place else.
That's our finance guys.
Right. That's exactly right, and we gotta clean our town up, 'cause I'm downtown every day, there's a lot of trucks.
But, listen, what I think we need to do is next year, we talk about this February, March, we talk about adopting a park. We don't do it in June, we don't do it, we're almost in.
When there's snow
summer.
on the ground.
Yes, we need to, yes, exactly. We need to talk about it then. So I remember that. I will remember that next year, we will talk
Talk about
about it.
salt in the summer and playgrounds in the winter.
I'm not gonna go that far. We'll talk about salt in the fall, maybe. Okay. Anything else? I know we gotta get Mr. Baird, and then when I wanna talk about, I wanna get back to Captain Walker. We good on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Number 6, refuse collection and street cleaning. Mr. Baird, you're up, brother.
Thank you. We received a grant from the Waste Authority. As you know, we're going to be talking with them about how best to utilize that and ways to implement some additional programs for the community that are meant to kind of supplement or augment what we already do and will continue to do. So those conversations will be ongoing, trying to get some additional services in place and trying to keep them in place over time. Repairs on the street sweeping equipment are complete, essentially complete. The machine is coming back, hopefully within the next couple of days. We can get it here by the end of the week, if not beginning of next week. When that machine is back, and I still don't have an exact date, but it's within the next second. When that machine is back, the first place we'll deploy it will be downtown, the Central Business District. Subsequent to that work being completed, we'll do the major corridors and then branch out into the other areas of the city. More detailed information, once we know that the machine is here and we're up and running, more detailed information as far as schedule and locations will be announced and made available. But that's, as soon as we get it back, we're going to go to work in the downtown and the major corridors. And we're just going to have to talk to the Waste Authority on the ways to implement what services we can add. But again, those are designed to kind of augment, supplement, in addition to our existing programs, and just provide additional services with that.
I have a question. We have a bulk pickup, paint. When is that? I was away. When is that date?
The Waste Authority conducts that, that's their program, and I believe it's scheduled for June 27th.
Okay.
That's household Steubenville.
Okay.
It's all household hazardous waste collection, and you can pick all that kind of stuff.
The 27th. Okay. Thank you. I need to know too. I need to know. I didn't see it. I think it was, okay. You say yes, date? I'll check. All right. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Mr. Barrett.
Bob, you have down, Barry, you have down, you have requested this year 262 requests for potholes, 7 men, is that correct?
I think that's something we were going to talk about in the council meeting.
Oh, okay.
But if I can even have a, yeah.
Okay, I pass it. Sorry, Lou.
That's okay. Any other questions? Ms. Metcalf?
Before you go on to number 7, I know you have it on there. Council has been sent an email dealing with the COPS grants.
Okay.
You received that as well too.
Table?
Yeah, we
Okay.
go to that meeting. Yeah. Unless Councilman Walker has anything else to add on that, but, you know, we're tabling it until.
You good? Okay. Anything else? Okay, you got 5 minutes. Don't get off. I will. I'm getting ready. I just want to tell y'all, don't get lost.
Very outside in.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
We have about 5 minutes.